Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Resilience+RISE, where we explore the stories of extraordinary individuals who turn life's challenges into powerful opportunities for growth and impact. Each week, we shine a light on those who inspire others with their resilience, innovation, and unwavering drive to make a difference. This podcast is based on my upcoming book, Resilience Plus Rise 26.2 Transformative Miles to Unleash a Marathon of Life Mindset. It's out to be in early 2025. I believe Resilience Plus Rise is not just a podcast, it's a space where powerful stories are shared, where adversities transform into strength, and my favorite line, where ordinary lives become extraordinary. Yes, they are ordinary people, but they have had some extra to make themselves extraordinary inspiration. Each week, I sit down with remarkable individuals to explore the moments that define them, offering hope and motivation to the listeners. My name is Thomas Scaria. I am a coach, I am an ultra marathoner, and a relentless believer in your next powerful chapter that begins now. Together, during this podcast, we will shatter the limits, rewrite your narrative, and rise, not despite the struggle, but because of it. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome an exceptional guest, Samantha Stewart. She is not only a life coach, but also a physical trainer. She's got a background in kinesiology, and what she believes is a development of human. And usually, when we talk about it, it's not just physically, but also mentally. She has honed the skill to make women grow more stronger. So, with this, let me welcome Sam. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you, Thomas. That was one heck of an intro, and I'm humbled. Thank you. Um, I have to say, what you said. Hope is hope, hope, hope. I heard that word like it was like in bolded letters. It's so needed and it's available. So thanks for having me. Thanks for chatting with me.
Yep. In fact, the other day I was out and I'd seen the Salvation Army, and I donated something, and they gave me this band wherein it says hope. So I keep it. I think so. That's going to be the mantra which I will be holding on till this band lasts with me, and it'll take me long. So, Sam, this is not about me, but it's about you. A lot of people, they look at you and they say, "Wow, she's got it all said, done." You seem to be an epitome of the person who has taken everything by its horn, the bull by its horn. So tell me your story, who you are, and what resonates to the persona that you are.
Um, I am a flawed but trying human being with a radical amount of hope and faith. Um, I am I am here today only by the grace of God.
Okay. Yes.
And yeah, and I guess I love that you asked who are you, right? Because we often ask people, what do you do, right? Um I am a woman who is on a mission to help people not just become fit and strong and healthy and well. Yes, I am here to love well,
Okay.
and I am here to show others love and help them have hope, believe in themselves, and have a little fun. Have a little fun while we do it.
So, of course, the next question which comes to a segue is, why is that important to you, that what you're doing? Because again, from your background of kinesiology, you could have moved into you have got a background of being in activities or platforms where it was all about the physical well-being, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But here, what I hear is something more than just that particular platform.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Most of my life, I not only didn't know who I was,
Okay.
I had no idea that I had any value at all.
Hmm.
I had no idea that I was worthy of love and lovable. I had no idea that I wasn't wrong, just innately. I had no idea until I started to learn. So getting into fitness happened because I experienced depression. It
Hmm.
happened because of that reason. What kept me going in my career, in my 20-year career in fitness, was the constant striving to prove myself, to make something of myself for myself. And finally, I realized that while it got me very far, it didn't have to be that way. So what I do now through fitness and wellness coaching and is I help women to transform who they are,
Okay.
body, soul, and spirit, because we're all of it. You can't separate one from the other. And in 18, 20 years of personal training and being in the fitness industry and in the ways that I have, what I've discovered is that the motive behind what we do is what makes all of the difference. And particularly in my experience in fitness, and it's not only with the women or with the clientele, I'm speaking of us fitness professionals as well. Why we do what we do. Pain is a really good motivator. Love is a hell of a lot better.
Beautiful. Wow, there's so many nuggets over there, and especially the last one is that pain is a good motivator, love is better. But if I take a step back, and you mentioned is that again, as per the normal narrative of this current world, when they look at you, okay, you're in physical fitness, you seem to be, again, as I mentioned, my old narrative that you seem to have everything under control. You just mentioned the word depression,
Mm-hmm.
which for a lot of people, is it? How is that even possible? Because we believe that by being fit, you don't feel depressed because you're already pushing your endorphins and you're pushing a lot of other good cells in your body that you would really feel fit. And so when you went through it, or if you are allowed to say or you want to talk about it,
Sure. Yeah.
how what were the steps that you did that made you more resilient, more stronger, and to know the Sam that we know at this point of time on the screen?
Great question. I've never been directly asked it in that way or at all. So I experienced my first depression episode. I don't even know what to call it at 12 years old,
Huh.
um, when my grandfather died.
Okay.
And I didn't know what it was, right? Because it wasn't really something my family talked about. Um, and so that was the first time I experienced it. I had episodes growing up. And I say episodes, and I don't even know if that's the right language. That's what I'm going to call it, right? So I'll ask for the grace from anyone listening if I don't use the best terminology. I'm using what I use, my language, right?
Okay.
So through high school and college, and it led me down all different paths. I mean, when you don't know who you are, when you don't know how to understand what's going on inside, you want to shut it up, right? You want to turn it off. You want to get rid of it. You don't want to look at it. You want to escape it. And I found a lot of ways to escape. So alcohol became my primary means of escape. Food, binge eating as well. And then exercise. Working out came into play in college when I went through a depression and a binge drinking episode, and literally stumbled my way into the dorm gym. Started working out, sweating the night before's alcohol out, and realized it felt kind of good. And that's when I think the first time, I didn't realize it at the time, but now I can articulate this. That was the first time that I realized that it feels good to feel good. And this makes me feel good. Different than the way that we escape to feel good immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So over the course of my years, I even while fitness training, I could go in and train 10 clients in a day and go out drinking that night. And that was typical. And something inside was always so disrupted, right? Because when we don't live in a way that is congruent with what we think or speak or want or even want, there's inner turmoil. So it just exacerbates, right? It's like this vicious cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So the big shift for me in terms of somebody who has dealt with depression before, it's not something. The last episode I had caught me off guard, right? I wasn't expecting it. I've had a lot of life changes lately, and I wasn't really expecting it. But I went in completely present with it. And I'm not a mental health expert. I'm not a psychologist or anything like that. But I know from my experience, I've been in really gnarly, dark pits. And what has shifted for me was when I came to accept Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Everything changed. Everything started to change at that moment. And as I learned to have self-compassion for myself, self-compassion, as I learned to have curiosity, compassion for myself, I was able to be with myself in the depression. And slowly over time, the ways that I would escape started to not even become options anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this most recent depression that I went through, and I shared with you on a call when we were, our support check-in, iron sharpens iron calls, because it's real, so I wasn't expecting it. I slipped into it. I won't say I slipped into it. I nosedived into it. But awareness becomes so important because I could see it coming on, right? So I'm aware of what could trigger, these episodes. A lot of life changes. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went in eyes wide open. And as I say, I just held myself. I held myself. So I'm the chick, as I say, who in the gym, would lift with the dudes. Buck up, buttercup, suck it up, let's go, right? Weak is ugly, let's get going, right? Yeah, that stuff works. That works until it doesn't. Mm-hmm. And once it doesn't work anymore, that's when you really have the opportunity to look at the situation, life, who you are, what's going on, what you're feeling, and you get the choice to either be in it or be out. And I'm tired of being out. I'm not running away from it anymore. So that's what has made all the difference, right? Learning how to have compassion for myself, learning how to slow down and rest, feeling my emotions without judgment, being curious about it. And curiosity does a lot of good. And saying that's it. No more looking away. I'm looking head on and I'm going for it. Like the buffalo in the snowstorm, right?
Okay, yep.
Head on, eyes wide open, baby. Right? There's no like mind over matter. There's no, I think it's, sorry to go on a tangent, but I think so often I would fight it, right?
Mm,
So when like the depression would come on or the anxiety, I would fight it. Like, oh, I hate this. Oh, I don't do that anymore. And it's not easy, but I say, okay, all right. I know who you are. I know I can see why you're here. I'm not going to try to pretend like it's not existing. I'm in it. Let's go.
fantastic. Suddenly, I'm just so speechless. It's there's so much of learnings over there. And guys, if you're listening to this particular thing, again, it goes back to my concept about resiliency. Is that yeah, you fall down, and but it's how you get up, dust up, and go to the next step.
Yeah.
So you got up, you dusted, and then what happened? What did you discover?
This most recent time?
Hmm.
Yeah. What I discovered, it was reinforcing to what I had um been been surmising, right?
Mm,
That oftentimes what something that sucks becomes agony because we're feeding the wrong thing,
okay.
right? That relates back to fitness, right? And maybe this is why I fell in love with fitness. When we resist something,
It was first.
yeah. So like Chinese finger cuffs, right? You
Hmm.
put your fingers in, and the more you try to pull apart, you just try to get away from it. You can't, like, boom, it tightens, right? And when we are willing to be here for all of it, without judgment, without being in a hurry to get to the next step. And yes, I even mean in the dark pits where, man, it feels like you're gonna die.
Hmm.
Um, and I know what it's like to want to. Um, when you get out of that, you see things differently,
Okay.
right? So I experience joy so deeply. I can look at wind blowing in the trees and be brought to tears, right? And I know what it's like to be in a pile of your own snot on the floor. Um, and both are beautiful. Both sometimes are part of life, right? But what we focus on amplifies. So when I'm brought to my knees,
Hmm.
I look up, right?
Wonderful. Wonderful. And from what I've known about you is that you have used these lessons, life lessons, to become the person that you are. It's not about just physical, but mental fitness also. and that's where you have got into the platform where you are currently in. That is the coaching space. So, what's your ideology? What is your, I don't say it is a goal, but what's the service that you're putting across, wherein with the demons or whatever we call it as, that you have grown? You're helping women empowerment.
Mhm.
Oh, can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, sure. So first, I've been in fitness 20 years, in management and leadership roles in a male dominant industry. And I got really good at growing thick skin. I got really good at, as I say, manning up, right?
Okay. Hmm.
Um, so, I never thought that I would be so passionate about working with women. Never in
Hmm.
a million years. I never knew what it was like to have close female friends.
Okay.
Really, a couple growing up, but I didn't really feel safe with women,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
So one thing that I help women break through is the fact that some of us unknowingly step into this role of martyrdom.
Okay.
Okay.
Victim.
A little bit different than victim.
Okay.
Martyrdom.
Okay.
Like we will do anything for people that we love.
Okay.
We will do anything for the work that we care about. But sometimes what we're unaware of is that we're doing it because we want to, yeah, right? So I was just on a call yesterday with a woman who was talking about an exercise that she just hates doing it, right? Hates doing it. And I said, "Why do you think you need to do it?" She said, "Well, I know it really works well for me, and it's good for me. Man, I hate it." I was like, "Yeah, I get that. I totally get that." I said, "Question, what? You barely know me, like we just met, but if I were to say, hey, I need you, and the only thing you can do to help is to do this exercise, but I need you." And she goes, "Yeah, I would do it." And I said, "Isn't that funny?" And she goes, "Wow, yeah, it is." But that's what we do, right? Is we put other people first, um, and we'll take a bullet, right? We'll do anything.
Hmm.
But when we really look at why we're doing that, that's where we start to really understand more of what we truly need and want and why we do the things that we do. And then we can start making those changes. So for me, I realized that I was chasing people. I was
Hmm.
striving in my career and I love serving people and love helping people, but sometimes my motives were off. It wasn't necessarily just from a place of wanting to give, it was hoping to get validation, love,
Oh, that's beautiful.
recognition,
Okay.
right? So the way that I actually came to realize that I was doing it, um, I do video journaling and I
Okay.
do audio journaling because my hands can't keep up anymore.
Oh.
And it
Okay.
has been radically transformative for me. And one thing I discovered as I was listening to one of my audio recordings from a few years ago was I was sharing with somebody the number of people that, I really cared about that, relationships didn't really work out or what have you. And I noticed how many times I used the phrase, "I take a bullet for him. I take a bullet for him. I take a bullet for him." And she said, "You take a bullet for a lot of people." And I said, "Well, I love them." She goes, "I love people too, but there aren't many people I take a bullet for." And so as I was video journaling later and talking through it, right? Talking through it, like, that is interesting because I do say that a lot and I do feel like that a lot. What is that? And as I'm talking through it, I hear myself on the audio recording go, and I guess it sounds a little bit like a martyr. And I was like, oh my goodness,
Okay.
I get it. right? I get it. So in what we do, if our motive isn't necessarily purely love, me chasing to get love from somebody else isn't me being loving to myself.
Oh yeah.
So I started to connect the dots, and I started to think about all of the women that I've worked with over my career in fitness and in personal training. And I started to think about the men and women that I've worked with, in the personal trainers that I've led. And I see a lot of common threads, We overcompensate in this area because we're not really helping ourselves in this area. Why not? What's
Mhm.
the underlying, right? What's the underlying reason? And then I look at all the women who have come into to the gyms or to personal training, and it's like, it's cyclical. Like, I'm going to
Mhm.
do this. Oh, it doesn't work. Or I'm back again because I reverted backwards, or the going gets tough and they split. Or as I say, we have the burnout, fizz out, dip out effect. Right? It's like, what's going on with that? And I kept coming back to, where's their heart? How's their heart posture? Why are they doing it? Right? Um, so yeah, the motive behind what we do and how we see ourselves in this world is what I found makes a radical difference. It either, yeah, it's permission for people to, you know, step up for themselves, um, do hard things.
Of course. So that's where you come into the picture about helping them not only from the coaching point of view, physical point of view, mental point of view, and how you allow them to get to the next step. Cool. So, just being mindful of the time, is there any parting words that you would like to the listeners to listen to at this point of time? That's something that they can take away. I mean, there's a lot of takeaways in the last 20, 25 minutes that we have been having, and it's been absolutely beautiful golden nuggets. But is there something else that resonates to Sam, that who she is, apart from taking bullets? How do you define as a third person? How is Sam? What do you have anything to tell to the audience?
I do. I will never miss an opportunity to say this. Um, I don't care what you currently think. You are so loved. You are so loved. And every single person has incredible gifts within them that we need you to share. And in order to share it, you need to be well. I'm not a halfway person. I'm not lukewarm. I'm all in.
Wow.
We
Okay.
want we want all of you and all that you've got to share, and we need you well for that. So that's what yeah, we can teach you how to squat, but no matter what you currently think, the truth is that you are loved and you deserve to be well.
Fantastic. That's such a beautiful takeaway. Thank you so very much for your time and space, Sam. It has been, at least for me, this journey for the last 20, 25 minutes has been so profound, so interesting, because it has allowed me to think a lot. Of course, I've been present, but then hearing you, there's been so much of it's been aha factor. And I sincerely hope the same way that I looked into it, there would be audience who would also see the beauty of what we as humans are capable of doing. Thank you so very much for your space and time. It has been a pleasure and privilege talking to you, and you have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.